They're quite quick. You're not sentimental. Okay, so let's first do the Mangala Charana. And shall we do the whole thing? I would do the whole thing. Okay. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Vede Ramayane chaiva purane bharate tata adavante cha madhye cha hari sarvatra giyate mukam karoti vachalam pangum gayate girim yat kripadamaham vande Shri Guru Natharinam Paramananda Madhavam. Shall we sing that Orion song? Paramananda He Madhava Padunga Luchi Makaranda Semakananda Panakori Anande Monohari Hari Harinkana Vanda Gevela Parikaribe Chakadola Se Chakadola Payare Manamora Nirantare Manamo Nirantare Rahu Ha Krishna Boli Jiva Jao Ha Krishna Boli Jao Jiva Mote Udhar Radha Dhava Mote Udhara Radha Dhava Mote Udhara Radha Dhava Dharma Projita Kaitavotra Paramanirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tahaputrayan Moolanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Pararishvara Sadyo Hridayavadvar Rudyate Trakritibhih Shushubhis Tatkshanat Nigamakaupataror Galitam Phalam Shukamuka Namrita Dravya Samyutam Pibat Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Mudibhavaka Anartupashmam Sakshad Bhakti Yoga Madhokshaja Lokasya Janato Vidvams Chakre Satvata Samhitam Yasyam Vaishremanayam Krishne Paramapurushe Bhaktirutpadyate Pumsah Shokamoha Bhayapa Shrimad Bhagavatam Puranam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyamekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkaramyam Avishkritam Tachrinman Supatam Vicharana Parubhaktya Vimuchyan Naraha Bharatoyam Brahmasutranam Bharatartha Vinirnaya Gayatri Bhashya Ruposau Vedartha Paribrimita Sarva Vedetihasanam Saram Saram Samudritam Sarva Vedanta Saram Hi Shri Bhagavatam Mishate Tadrasamrita Triptasya Nanyatrasya Dratih Kvachit Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swaru Shri Bhagavata Tate Veda Shastra Haite Parama Mahatma Chari Veda Upanishade Joto Kichu Hoy Tararta Lay Vyasa Karila Sunchoy Jesut Jeri Vishayo Vachano Bhagavate Seri Shloke Nibandana Jiveranistara Lagi Sutra Koilo Vyasa Mayavadi Bhasha Sunile Hoy Sarvana Jaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavira Sthane Ekanta Shroy Koro Chaitanya Charane Bhagavata Jinamani Se Javana Samo Tara Shasta Janme Janme Prabhu Jama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Rama.
Hey, nice to see you. Glad to see you.
Okay, so that was Mangalacharan. And so let me just go through the notes that I have noted on listening to the class. And then you probably also have some notes. Good. So let's do like that.
Yes, I have 2, 3, 4, 5 topics.
Okay, good. So I didn't like specify the verse. It's 10 and it's 2 6 7 probably, I believe, if I remember correct, or no, 2 10 7 2 10 7, right? I believe the shloka be coming after the topics of Bhagavatam. And I started noting.
No, it should be from the first canto, I guess. Huh? Okay, doesn't matter. This shloka.
I can have a look actually. I still have it open here. 2:10:7, yeah. Abhashascha nirodhascha yatostyadya vasiyate sa ashrayah param brahma paramatmeti shabdate. The Supreme One, who is celebrated as the Supreme Being or the Supreme Soul, is the supreme source of the cosmic manifestation, as well as its reservoir and winding up. Thus, he is the supreme fountainhead, the absolute truth. That's the translation of the verse. And I started actually note it only when Maharaj started to speak his words after even reading the purport, which, if I remember correct, was dealing with Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Shabdyata, with these conceptions. And Maharaj makes a point that, which is like standard Siddhanta Tattva, that Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan is one vastu, one entity. And only what differs is how we perceive absolute truth. What level, in one sense, one is allowed to have the vision for. If we would take them as a sequence of the greatness of the realization. And in that sense, I like his sentence that he put it like, last word for absolute truth is Bhagavan, and then the last word for in that Bhagavan category is Krishna, because he mentioned that in that Bhagavan category you have the general understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which might be even Purushas and in the material world, or Lila avatars and all these forms of the Lord, already in the category of Bhagavan, but still not really being the supreme aspect of that Bhagavan category. And the last word for the Bhagavan category is Krishna. And then he mentions that all cantos work to present Krishna as the ultimate ashraya, shelter, which is for me, through all those lectures, I was wondering that one really has to switch the understanding of this terminology, because usually in regard to Bhakti Rasa by Rupa Goswami, we understand Krishna as Vishay Alambana, that he's the object of love. But here it's quite different topic discussed, and in that sense, in the relationship to his creation, he's certainly ashray category. He's the shelter. I was thinking that the good praman, good verse could be the Bhagavad Gita, that everything rests on me as the pearls on the string. So in that sense, Krishna is the ashray for his whole creation, material, spiritual, everything, anything that exists. The ashray, the real ashray, the shelter of that is Krishna. So that was what I noted here. But although we are usually used to use that terminology as that Krishna is the Vishay Vigraha and devotee is ashray, meaning the shelter, meaning where abode of love, where the love is, and the Krishna is the object of love, Vishay Alambana. Then in this sense, this discussion here, he truly is the ashray of everyone and everything. Then another note I have, that 9 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam explain our dependency on Lord. That's why he's ashraya, because we depend on him. In a general way, meaning when we hear topics like sarga, visarga, then we are rather impelled to consider our dependency on those rather general aspects of Krishna, meaning his presence as Paramatma Tattva in the material world, his presence as Purushas. So in that sense, but also simultaneously, Bhagavatam explains our dependency on Krishna directly, especially for us devotees who are consciously and intently cultivating devotion to Krishna. So it's even more relevant to us in a sense. So that was the intro by Maharaj, and then he came to his points, what he wanted to explain in his lecture, as far as I understood the structure of the lecture, of the class. And that was these 3 metaphors describing the effect of Srimad Bhagavatam, actually. And that is this Deepa as a what call it, light, or like Gila, Deepa, sun, and ripened juicy fruit. And Maharaj explained that the Deepa is represented, this effect of Bhagavatam, this enlightenment that we are getting from Bhagavatam, regards to the 2 topics specifically, Sarga and Nirodha, which I really appreciated, actually, how Maharaj connected it with our fear of birth and death, it was so practical, actually. Just when we understand Sarga, when we understand how the creation comes about and that there is a person behind it all, and in the same way there is a person and will of specific person behind destruction, even behind the destruction of our body, then just simply accepting it is so relieving from the fear of that, because we can easily just say, okay, that's Lord's will. It's not up on me to decide when these things will happen. And I'm sorry. Yeah, so that was like obvious reason or obvious result of that effect of Bhagavatam, and that if we can accept the conclusions on Sarga and Nirodha being fully under the control of the Supreme Lord, then we don't really have to struggle with I don't know, fighting for unnatural survival, you know, and like the scientists in the history so eagerly searching for immortality, and oh, we know, okay, that's Lord's arrangement. That's how he has done the things, that the mortal bodies are mortal. So why try to avoid it? And yeah, if we connect it with the understanding of our spiritual nature of our spiritual identity, then why be in anxiety? Why going through some fear? Of course, Maharaj explains, even in this lecture and in the previous lecture, he explains this paroksha knowledge and aparoksha knowledge. So that's where the challenge will be, whether we operate on the level of direct knowledge, or it's just something theoretical for us. So until that degree, probably we could still struggle with it. Then there is this other aspect when Bhagavatam is compared to the sun. It has an effect of enlightening us as a sun, which represents the other 7 topics, actually, I have mentioned here, noted. And I like that point, that within those 7 topics, it really creates the context to everything else, and especially to the topic of ashraya. That if you just would take out the ashraya out of these other topics, it could be, how to say, maybe too ungraspable. It would be just vague in the air somehow. But if you get it in the context with all 7 other topics, well, probably we could include Sarga and Nirodha as well. But if we get it in the context of all these topics, then you can really relate to that statement that Krishna is the ultimate ashraya, that he is really the shelter of everyone and everything. So that's what I like. And also this this example of Maharaj of the zodiac was quite expressible, that the sun is different through the zodiac circle, and it's quite symptomatic that we have 12 signs in the zodiac, and we have 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Maharaj mentions that through those 12 cantos the ashraya is explained in a different ways, in the same way as the sun is different in the 12 signs of zodiac. So that was quite good. I like that point. Yeah, and he made the point that some of those explanations of ashraya throughout those cantos might be very general, and some, like in the 10th canto, it's a really very specific description directly of Krishna. So that was a nice thing. Okay, another note I have here, it was within this discussion actually. I was really happy about that sutra. That you can enjoy properly and improperly, and you can renounce properly and improperly. I really like that, and I especially that renunciation. I could I could immediately remember some weird and funny ways how neophyte devotees are expressing their renunciation, you know, throwing carpets from the window and things like that, destroying their grihastha ashramas and whatever. So it actually brought me to Rupa Goswami's conceptions of Palgu and Yukta Vairagya. Definitely, that would be very applicable conceptions to this discussion. That we could if we would like to speak more on that topic, probably these would be the guidelines to understand what is proper and what is Falgu Vairagya. Good. Yeah. Then there is this third function or conception of Bhagavatam, and this is a juicy fruit. Juicy fruit, as we have chanted in the Mangalacharan. Maharaj also refers to that verse. Nigama kalpatarar galitam phalam shukamukadam ritadravya samnitam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam shukamukat. No, that was, what is it? Muhura ahora sika bhuvi bhamuka. Yeah. So here I just made my notes to it, that that primarily for us as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that the descriptions of Krishna's Braja Leela is exactly that Rasam Alayam, which is very obvious and immediate. Yet, I made that was my thoughts on it. That for the, if we would like to analyze that last line, Muhura Hora Sika Bhumi Bhavaka, that only with that qualification, having bhava and being able to relish the rasa, then you can really relish the rasa throughout the Bhagavatam. You don't exactly need just that specific descriptions of Braja Leela, but I wrote down, noted down the example of Lord Chaitanya going to listen Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit, and especially somehow Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami picked up those two examples that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically relished, hearing Prahlad Charita and Dhruva Charita. But his relishment of Prahlad Charita and Dhruva Charita is probably something much more deeper than how we observe these topics. We may scratch the surface of the depth of those topics, but him being absorbed in the rasa, in the mellow of Srimati Radharani's separation from Krishna, when she hears about the troubles that Prahlad had to go through, she can identify with that on her personal level, on a level like what I have to go through in my separation from the Lord. So that makes it like, in that sense, you can associate all the Lord's leelas with your bhava, with your specific mood, and thus you can really in Bhagavatam relish this rasam alayam. You can really how to say, accept it through your bhav, with your bhav, and thus all the topics of the Bhagavatam will bring you nectar. I was remembering in that connection also the Madhavananda Prabhu mentioned it quite a few times on Mathura means Vrindavan, how meeting at Kurukshetra, Siri. So he gave quite a space to explaining what does the later pastimes after Krishna was taken away from Vrindavan. So what does those later pastimes mean for Brijbasis actually? How they're getting news about Krishna's activities in Mathura, in Dwaraka, and how they process what's Krishna's later pastimes. So we could superficially reject those pastimes. We could think like, oh, we just care for Krishna and Vrindavan, and otherwise everything else is just, that we don't care. But if you're a real Rasika, then you can really relish anything about your Lord, and anything about your Lord will enhance your personal rasa, your personal bhava. Remember, Shivaram Maharaj once was giving very beautiful example, which really helped me to grasp this topic of immaturity, of excluding one topic to the other. He said, like, if you're a mother, then it's natural for you to be curious about the whole identity and time of your son. It's not that you care for your son only when he's at the table and he's eating what you have cooked for him. But when he's going outside to play with his friends, you are also concerned. What is my Lala doing? What is it's natural. So if you would just say that on the pretext of my absorption in my specific rasa, I don't respect Lord's other pastimes with other devotees. It's just, I don't care. It's, we know that way of immaturity. Then it means you're not really even relishing your own bhava. It's just kind of a prakrita approach to the whole thing, because if you love the person, you love everything about the person. And of course, specifically, you relish your own thing, you relish your stimulants for your love. Definitely, that's not, we don't want to say that everything is one, but but if you love Krishna, you love Krishna. And everything about him is of your interest naturally. Otherwise, something's wrong, I would dare to claim. So that was to those three effects of Bhagavatam: the Deepa, sun, and juicy fruit, Rasamalayam. And then Maharaj started to be more specific about the first canto, actually. And I was so glad and happy just for this term, Adhikari Tattva, because then I just opened in Veda base, the first canto, and I was looking through the titles of the chapters, and it's so obvious that it just discusses the, like, who's gonna speak Bhagavatam, and what is his position, and what is the context of his position. It's just so obvious when you have these lands given just with this two words, Adhikari Tattva, and you can see, wow, that's the whole thing about. Well, you have, like we mentioned later, the secondary topics like Kali Yuga and other. So yeah, one can see it there also, but it's still part of description of Maharaj Parikshit, his interactions with Kali. It's actually also to deepen our understanding of qualification and position of Maharaj Parikshit as a listener of Bhagavatam. So I was really ecstatic about just these two words, Adhikari Tattva. And Maharaj specified it. Maharaj mentioned that it explains who can read, speak, and understand Bhagavatam and the methodology of Bhagavatam. And yeah, and then he mentioned that the proper method to understand Srimad Bhagavatam is exclusively Avaroha Panta. We must receive Bhagavatam. We don't generate the knowledge of Bhagavatam with our whatever intelligence, mind, but we have to receive it. And I got really stuck on that on that point because it somehow triggered many thoughts to me, in the sense that for me this ability or this qualification for Avaroha Panta is strongly connected with our ability to get free from the Kartritva Abhiman in our devotional service, meaning that to really understand the reality that we are not the doers in devotional service. It's just yeah, so I connected it with this term Kartritva Abhiman, and I was remembering few places where I have it connected with. One is Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where there is a wonderful verse. I can't really quote it because I didn't have time to find it. I have it noted in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, but I just came running from Damodara, so I didn't have a time to really find it. But there is a wonderful verse where Sanatana Goswami says that the neophyte devotee, when he's performing the angas of the devotional service, he thinks that he's doing devotional service. He's serving the Lord. He's still in that conception of being doer. But advanced devotee, in contrast to it, is understanding that his bhakti is only the play of Svarup Shakti, which is meant for the Lord's enjoyment. And I was really like, I really love that quote because it's so powerful to free us from discarded Abhiman, from this misconception of being doer. it's just Svarup Shakti play for the pleasure of the Lord. And it makes sense even in Rupa Goswami's terminology when we take his definition of bhava, Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryam Shusame Bhag. Then when we read commentaries by Jiva Goswami, he explains exactly that Shuddha Sattva is the specific, this term denotes the specific function of Samvit Shakti, and Visheshatma denotes the specific function of the Hladini Shakti. So in that sense, what else it is? If that's the definition of bhakti, of bhava bhakti, then what else it is than loving play of Svarup Shakti for the pleasure of the Lord? It's so obvious. So that was my contemplation. And then I was like thinking that actually in that verse, Sanatan Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he continues the verse. He gives this differentiation, and then he continues. And it is very good that the neophyte has this Kartritva Abhiman, because it keeps him inspired, which is quite interesting. Because otherwise he wouldn't be impelled to serve the Lord if he wouldn't be the doer. So that's quite interesting. But on the long term, on the long run, I was thinking there's a really great danger, and I have some observance for myself as well as around myself. I can see that if you want to run in the devotional service really on the long term as a doer, there will be point that you will run out of breath. And because what will happen, that's my suspicion, and that's how I contemplated it and connected it, that what will happen, that we have our samskaras being doer with the material activities. And as long as we interpret devotional service as another material activity, we will not be able to really appreciate its transcendental reality. And thus we will, after rather longer period of time, we will come to a point that we will be asking ourselves, what is the difference between my eating as a karmi and my eating as a devotee? My, I don't know, building the house as a karmi and building the house as a devotee. You will not see the difference as long as you will maintain this conception of I am the doer, I am the karta, I am the one who does things. Then you will arrive to that point, and you will have a trouble. You will have a trouble to appreciate and recognize devotional service as something absolutely transcending material realm. In such ordinary things as eating, walking, seeing, whatever, we can say these are the functions of the senses. But if we connect it with the devotional service, it acquires its transcendental function in a way. And in that sense only we can say, like, fully depend and rely on Lord's Ahituki Kripa, and accept that let him play with us as he likes, as he wants. So that was my thoughts on this. And yeah, we are quite far from the Avaroha conception that Maharaj mentioned in the lecture, but I had it quite strongly connected, like, because if we project that Karta Abhiman on dealing with the knowledge, with the transcendental knowledge, then we will end up in Aroha Pantanas. I will figure it out, and I will learn it, and I will. But that's not a way how the knowledge descend to us from the superior source. So that's the connection for me, actually. Yeah. Then the three examples of the listener and the speaker, Sutta Goswami and the sages, Narada and Vyasadeva, Shukadeva and Parikshit. So I liked, as Maharaj so nicely took out the differences between those categories. that they are like progressive actually. That Sutta Goswami and the sages are on the lower platform of their realizations and qualifications. I really like that example with sages doing the yagya and having the black faces from the smoke being the Bhagavatam's expression of their impurities, and that was really funny, I have to admit. Then Narada and Vyasadeva, yeah, that's the middle qualification, and then of course, Shukadev and Parikshit Maharaj, and yeah, Maharaj explained how much space in Bhagavatam in first canto is covered just by really appreciating the position of Parikshit Maharaj, even indirectly, even in the like putting them into the social context. Where does he belong? Like that he's this descendant of the Pandavas, and the story of his meeting with the Lord in the womb, and all these things is actually for us to appreciate the qualities and qualifications of Maharaj Parikshit for receiving Bhagavatam. So that was also very appreciated. And also, I almost got shocked when Maharaj started to speak about that the qualifications are expressed as their jnana and vairagya, and I was like, what? Because I'm really sensitive to this like misconceptions of considering these two being angas of the bhakti. Very often we can meet with that phenomena in a neophyte environment, that more austere I am, the better devotee I am. So I'm really like sensitive to this misconception, and my mind immediately runs to Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. And fortunately, Maharaj saved me a few sentences later, and he mentioned that actually the bhakti is so difficult to describe that Bhagavatam took help of those external terms to express the qualification. But connected with that statement, with Maharaj quoted the same verse, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, Janati Asvi Vairagyam, Jnanam Chayat Ahaitakam. So, meaning that we should rather perceive them as symptoms of spiritual progress, as not the means for spiritual progress, but as a symptoms of spiritual progress. And then it's perfect. Then you can perfectly accept it like okay, if you want to describe a person by these two terms, then you also simultaneously with that get to know something about his devotion, because these two are natural results of devotion. So yeah, and that was what Maharaj probably really wanted to come to the whole conclusion of this discussion on qualification of this adhikari tattva, is that there must be bhakti. And I really liked as Maharaj specifically mentioned, that shouldn't be like theoretical bhakti, but you must live the devotion. Maharaj used this term, you must live the devotion. And I could perfectly relate to it. And yeah, without bhakti, the transmission of Bhagavatam's knowledge may go unsuccessfully. He made this statement with Dhritarashtra's example, that if there will not be bhakti, we may be even exposed to the knowledge of Bhagavatam, but it will just won't work. It won't go through. it will have no effect. So that was for me like a warning. Okay, that what makes it living, what makes it working, is that you have to live devotion, you have to live bhakti. And I also really liked that was one of the last statements of Maharaj, that by listening Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj received Gopi Bhava. Oh, that's that sounds quite good. Yeah, and then that was practically for me that where I found the conclusion of that primary topic, as Maharaj specified it, this Adhikari Tattva, and then he mentioned just two secondary topics, which is like Kali Yuga, and I also, that was for me very nice to see the connection between the four pillars of the dharmic life, or rather the adharmic, that Kali gave the space to live at, being connected with us, being able to receive Bhagavatam, and that it's like somehow interconnected. So that was nice. I don't know the word. And another secondary topic, which that's something that we have discussed actually yesterday evening on our reading, and that is the further, or rather clearing explanation of Mahabharata. Maharaj makes the point there that the readers of Mahabharata may be just confused, like what's the conclusion of Mahabharata, but the first cantos dealing on those topics of Mahabharata makes it clear that the real conclusion of Mahabharata must be bhakti. And it was interesting for me because without knowing this, we were yesterday discussing something about Mahabharata, and I was telling to the devotees that for me Mahabharata means that dharma is just so tricky that you cannot really rely on your understanding what is dharmic and what is adharmic. And Mahabharata is practically only examples of that, like how difficult it is to judge what is proper, what is improper, what is dharmic, what is adharmic. And we made a conclusion that it is to bring us to the point that only bhakti is really the solution, because then you are on a safe ground. When everything you do, you have in the mind pleasing the Lord, like devotion, love to the Lord, then whatever else I may do wrong, I can only pray and hope to the Lord that He may forgive me or teach me the proper way to do things and whatever. So I was really happy about getting to know that that's the same conclusion. Yeah, and then there were the question and answers. I don't know. There were a few nice points also, but maybe I'm too long. I'm sorry.
Wow. Thank you very much. Yes, I liked your, of course, I liked your comparison with how mother sees a child and all the spheres of life. Like, and when we love Krishna, and any devotee loves Krishna, he wants to know everything about Krishna. And thank you very much, especially for this Kartritva Abhiman, and it is something which is right now present in my life, like that if we don't think that we are this, like some particle of loving play of Shakti, Swarup Shakti, then we will just run out of breath. Yes, just It is, yes, this is something important, something for me personally, of course. Okay, so okay, I will then skip something which which you described very well. This three metaphors, like in three levels of how Bhagavatam influences the speaker. And Zodiac I will skip also. This is also was beautiful for me. This is 12 signs, like everything about Krishna, but just from different perspectives. Also, okay, and others I will just maybe add something. So yes, about different manifestations of the Lord, like Paramatma, like Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and that Krishna is the highest manifestation of Bhagavan, and this is in the Russian lecture. Maharaj was telling that this is there is in the beginning of every Vedic scripture there should be this Anubandha Chatushtaya. This is explanation of what this scripture is about, and so it contains like four topics, four parts, 4 points, Vishaya, and Sambandha, Prayojana, and Abhideya, but not, and Sambandha is the starting point, of course, and Prayojana. And Vishaya is Krishna in all four aspects. So Brahman, Purusha, Paramatma, and Narayana on Vaikuntha planets, and Krishna in Vrindavana, like Bhagavan. So the topic of Bhagavatam is Krishna in all four aspects, and Sambandha, it is that Srimad Bhagavatam has the ability to reveal Krishna, and the words of Bhagavatam is the essential reality, is the reality. So this is the starting point. That words of Srimad Bhagavatam is the reality, and okay, and Prayojana is of course the goal, and the goal is prema, and how it is said here. Abhideya is the method of revealing, manifesting Krishna is bhakti, pure devotional service, which consists of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is something for which we should make our efforts. This is Abhideya, that we should also serve with devotion. It is also connected with that we don't accept Bhagavatam as our possession. Yes, that this is some object, but this is our this is how this is a person, a personality whom we serve. Bhagavatam is alive. This is the only way. This is Abhideya of manifesting how we can make Krishna manifest, really. Not just studying logically, but by serving.
Yeah.
And this is like the very basics which we have to understand when we want to go this path, this way. Yeah, okay, yes. So the next thing was yes, about these 3 speakers and 3 listeners. I also connected with this one article in Bindu, the three magazines before about devotees, and there was the first article by Srila Prabhupada from his lecture. And he said that Madhyama level is the level where a devotee is caring for others and making some good to others. And we all should go to this level. And these 3 speakers and listeners, these couples, are like Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama also, yes, of course. So Sutta Goswami and these sages of Naimisharanya, they are on Kanishta level because they were caring for themselves. They did not understand what is going on with this world. They needed explanation of what is going on, what will be the future of this world. Madhyama level, it is Narada Muni and Vyasadeva. They were caring for others. For other people, they wanted to have their role, their service for Bhagavan in service to others. But Uttama Adhikaris, they care only for Krishna. So
Wondering that these sages actually, this yagya is described that it was the intention was for the welfare of the whole mankind actually. Quite how
okay, maybe this is how I remember it from some years ago, when I've heard this first, but that they were, yes, about mankind, and but Vyasadeva wanted to have his personal service for Bhagavan and to also to care for people. Something like this. And yes, and Srila Prabhupada is telling that Madhya Madhikari is someone who is making good for the people. So I just made this connection. Maybe, yes, they also wanted for mankind. Okay, the next about that Bhagavatam is Mahini Murti. And it can give you everything which can give us everything which we wish, like the deepest desires which are subconscious. Even we don't know, if we don't meet a pure devotee, if we don't listen Bhagavatam from a pure devotee, we will not understand. And in this sense, I just because the last canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 12th canto, it is like hiding again this bhakti essence. It is already a little bit hidden in 11th for the sages of Badarikashram. Yeah. And in the end, I just remember one lecture of Brijabasi Prabhu, one Ukrainian devotee. He was giving a lecture how Srimad Bhagavatam is Mahini Murti. And he said that it is, for example, in this, when this snake, sorry, what is this? Okay. Tashika already comes, and then Maharaja Parikshit hears such a verse from, and they can be understood that it is a way to Brahma, like to liberation, to how to
impersonal liberation.
Impersonal liberation, exactly. Aham Brahma Param Brahma Brahmaman Paramam Padam.
Yeah,
So
when I went through these verses, I was like, I was thinking the impersonalist that's their only hope in Bhagavatam. These these verses to interpret the whole all other 18,000 verses, which are not really in their favor.
yes, and but the meaning was that I accept that it is Krishna. He is, and he came to take me, and I will accept him as a lover, and so we will be together in our love. Yes. So okay, and also when I was listening to this lecture and just thinking, it came to my mind one more explanation of how we could read the whole Bhagavatam on 5 levels, on 5 layers, and it is already in the first verse of Bhagavatam. It is explanation of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, these 5 levels, and I have heard it from Adipurusha Prabhu, that on the first level we understand Bhagavatam as that Bhagavatam describes cause of creation. Cause of creation. It is of course just the same words. The same words explained like in 5 different ways there.
Okay.
And it is Shantarasa, of course, Shantarasa. And then second level is Summum Bonum, but in Dasya Rasa. But in Dasya Rasa, and that he has incomparable qualities, and this Dasya Rasa is just they are amazed, and they want to serve. And on the third level, it is that Srimad Bhagavatam is describing Krishna as a source of Adiras. Madhurya Rasa, Adiras, and and that in this way we can see the whole Bhagavatam, not only the first verse, but if we take it in the beginning, all these 5 levels, we can think about all these 5 levels while reading the whole Bhagavatam in each verse. Okay, the 4th level is Leelas of Daivan couple. And the 5th level, it is Ashraya Tattva of this Bhakti Yoga. That Bhakti Yoga is a starting point to understand. It is the way, and it is also the goal. The prem is also, I think, that we can see Bhagavatam as a glorification of Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah, that's a bold explanation of Narayan Maharaj. It came to me with this third level that he was explaining to the devotees that Rupa Goswami is predicted in the first verse of Bhagavatam as the Adi Kavi, not in a sense like the first Kavi, but the Kavi that describes Adi Rasa. That was.
So yes, Bhagavatam is, there are so many meanings and so many for everybody. Actually, for everybody will find there something, even starting from this topics of material life, how to live better material life, but in connection with Krishna, with God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Maharaj explained on the previous lectures, that you will probably that will be the motivation with the initial readings, initial approach to Bhagavatam. And that will be the things that you will see there. Yeah,
Yes.
everything.
And I
Nice.
also appreciate what you said about living devotion. I also noted down to me, to become a devotee, we should live life of a devotee. And I would kind of I was a kind of like thinking like in different ways. And what does it mean? But when you said it, I felt it so brightly. Also.
Yeah, it's quite vivid point actually, and Srila Prabhupada says the same thing in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, that when he explains this terminology as it is, then he says, he makes that point that we should understand as it is means that we should understand Bhagavad Gita as Arjuna understood it. And he makes the point that Arjuna understood it as a devotee, from the standpoint of a devotee, because he was devotee, he could understand it. He could understand Krishna's intention behind that talk. Otherwise, he could interpret anything. He could, if he wouldn't have the motivation of devotion, then he could get anything from what Krishna said. But because he was listening as a devotee with the mentality of devotee, and being a devotee, living devotion, then it went through. Then
Yes.
Krishna got him fighting, not even from his dharmic let's call it a Varna point of view, but as a devotion. I want it. I'm telling you, I want it. Then do it for me. So that was, and in the same way, we will, if we live devotion, we will have this same mentality implied on Bhagavatam. Then that what is Krishna's desire on us? What does he want to tell us as a devotees? How does he want to help our devotion? And yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. Then it was just like yeah, like that. Good. Hopefully, it will be of some help to.
Okay, so dear devotees who are watching this video, please make some your summaries or reports. We did our tasks like this way. Please, I don't know, write something or also make a video speech on these topics, because we should go on. We should take the next topics, the next lecture already next week, to catch up till January with flow of the course, and so this is humble request to response, please.
Don't leave us alone. Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, yeah, Vanchika.
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.